First of all, I want to thank my good friend from Montana for speaking on behalf of all the rural states, the concerns he might have, and the common sense amendments he is going to provide. It is clear that our nation is facing two grave economic threats, a job crisis and a death spiral of debt. As much as some people may wish, we simply can't ignore one threat over the other. For the sake of our nation's economic future, we must work together, Democrats and Republicans, and try to find a common sense solution that protects and creates jobs, but does so without adding to our growing deficits and debt. In a more sensible legislative process, we would be able to sit down and work out our compromises that make sense. And it's what legislatures throughout the nation's history have done. Unfortunately, looking at where things stand now, it is clear that the legislative process in Washington has gotten so dysfunctional that it doesn't make much sense at all. Mr. President, I came here to try to fix things, not to make excuses. And I sure didn't come here to play the blame game. I've never fixed a thing by blaming someone else. And I've said many times before, it is time for us, all of us, who have been given the great privilege to serve, to focus on what's right for the next generation, not worry about the next election. It is why, as frustrating as this legislative process can be, I will not lose hope that we can make this legislation better. With respect to the current Teachers and First Responders Back to Work Act, there is no doubt about the fact that our teachers and first responders have a critical role in our nation. From the classroom where teachers educate our children to the streets where first responders. If there could be order, please.
Senate will come to order. Senators are asked to take their conversations off the floor.
Where first responders put their lives on the line to keep our communities and nation safe, these great Americans, just so important to the future of this nation. But Mr. President, they and the American people deserve better than a temporary, one-year legislative proposal that does nothing to fix the long-term fiscal problems that led so many states to lay off thousands of teachers and first responders in the first place. What will we do next year when states come back again, asking for more federal money? Will we give out more money? Will we go further in debt? Will we borrow more money? What will we do? As it stands, without any changes, this bill will not solve the fiscal problem that will come once the aid ends. But this bill is not hopeless. It can be made better, and I know it will. In my state of West Virginia, we didn't have major layoffs of teachers or first responders during this brutal recession. As difficult as it was, we balanced our budget based on our values and our priorities. We made difficult decisions, but we kept our teachers in the classroom and our firefighters protecting our citizens. Make no mistake, we cut back our spending, but we did so responsibly. We spent where it was needed on our priorities. That's the common sense approach that works in West Virginia because that's how people run their lives. It's how they operate their small businesses and how we should run this country. You make budget choices based on what is important in your state, to your family, to your business, and to your country. In West Virginia, this simple common sense approach paid off. Every year that I was governor, we ended the fiscal year with a surplus. And every year for the past 3 years, West Virginia has seen its credit rating upgraded. The fact that other states did not make these difficult decisions years ago, the taxpayers of West Virginia are truly trying to be expected to foot this bill for other states. And I believe there's a better way. I believe there's a better way where we can balance the fiscal constraints that states face and the need to protect these vital jobs. I believe there's a better way where we can balance the need to keep teachers and firefighters working while not asking West Virginia taxpayers or any taxpayer in any state to pay for more than is necessary. That is why I am offering a common sense amendment that would transform this $35 billion in funding to keep teachers and first responders working into a loan program instead of a grant. This loan program would allow any state to borrow at very low or no interest the money they need to keep teachers and firefighters employed and pay it back over time when this recession basically eases. I don't know of any state that wouldn't put their teachers and firefighters as one of the highest priorities of their budget first. So this loan program would ensure that states are making the decisions on how much money they actually need, and not the federal government's willingness to put us further in debt by giving more money away. And it would ensure that states make smarter and more responsible decisions about what they can and cannot afford. Such a loan program would help protect their jobs and would protect the fiscal future of states when they get in trouble. In short, it just makes common sense. I would encourage my Republican and Democratic colleagues to embrace this common sense amendment, and I encourage them to help me make it even better. I would hope that they would support this cloture motion, not because they support the bill as it stands, but because they believe in what this legislation could be if we all put politics aside and work to make it better. If we could get past a filibuster, I would hope that the amendment process would be a testament to the great legislative moments that this body has seen in the past. As I've been assured by my leadership, this bill, if it gets to the floor, will have an open amendment process that will give us all an opportunity to make this legislation better. And it is the reason why I will vote for this motion to move on with debate. To my Republican and Democratic friends who may not support this bill as it stands, I would respectfully ask you to seize this opportunity to work together to make this bill better. Trust me, I share many of your concerns. And to be clear, if we cannot, I repeat, if we cannot and do not adopt the common sense approach that stops throwing money at the problems that we have in this country, I will join you and vote against it. Mr. President, this country is looking to us to do what is right. It's not about this vote or this bill. It's about the fact that so many Americans have lost confidence in this great body. They have lost confidence in the process that they see as broken and incapable of working. They have lost confidence in the legislative process that has become so political that it doesn't matter what we do. It just seems that all we care about is scoring political points to be used in the next election. It's a fact that some folks in this town are so busy trying to make the other side look bad that they don't really realize that they're making us all look bad. Mr. President, I don't believe for 1 minute that anyone in this chamber, Democrat or Republican, is rooting for our economy to fail or jobs to be lost. We just all have different ideas. While we should question each other's ideas and policies, we should never question each other's convictions. And shame on us if the blame game is the best thing that we can do. Mr. President, we are better than this. I came here to fix things, not to play politics. It is time for us to stop with the bickering and remembering one thing. We may be members of different political parties, but we are all members of the same party in this great country. We're all Americans. As difficult as it may seem, America and the future of the American people are more important than politics or an election. So I ask again, let's work together on common sense, bipartisan ideas to get this country on a responsible financial path that will strengthen the economy and create jobs. Let's work together on making America's future brighter, not just for us, but for the next generation.